So Mike has traveled extensively around the country by train on Amtrak and is here to offer his knowledge of traveling by train and also insights into how train travel can help you connect with the landscape and your fellow passengers. In addition to being an avid rider of trains, Mike works as the executive director of the Utah Rail Passengers Association and serves on the board of directors of the National Rail Passengers Association. He recently graduated from the University of Utah with a Master of City and Metropolitan Planning and an interdisciplinary graduate certificate in sustainability. One thing I've enjoyed in thinking about this presentation is just reflecting on various train trips I've been blessed to experience in my life. And I'm looking forward to hearing what Mike has to share with us. So I'll turn the time now over to you, Mike.
First off, you should see a photo of me there. That is not my hair sticking up in back. That's actually a palm tree off in the distance. And just happened to catch that. But as we've been promised, I will be talking about Amtrak. And before we get going, I have to briefly mention the three types of service that Amtrak operates. First off, we have the Northeast Corridor, which is the gold highlighted portion that runs in the east between Washington, D.C. and Boston and features multiple trains per hour. And we also have the red portions, which are the state-sponsored portions that where states are working with Amtrak to provide transportation solutions for their citizens. And this discussion will mainly focus on the blue lines, which are the long distance corridors, the overnight trains that crisscross the country. And I wanted to briefly show where I've ridden and where I haven't ridden yet. The blue lines are where I haven't ridden on Amtrak yet. The red lines are where I've ridden, and the yellow lines are where I've ridden on detours. So far I've covered probably about 2/3 of the Amtrak system in my travels. And I know not everyone here is from Utah, but I live in Salt Lake City, and Utah is served by Amtrak's California Zephyr, which passes through Utah on its 52-hour, 2,438-mile journey between Chicago and the San Francisco Bay Area. And this picture is the California Zephyr passing the Book Cliffs near Green River, Utah. And it's also Amtrak's longest route. And almost all the photos in this presentation that I'll be showing have been taken by me, except this is one exception. I did not take this picture. And Amtrak trains have multiple levels of service. This picture shows the typical seating in coach, which is basically seats that are very similar to airline seats, except they have much more room and are much roomier than even the first class seats on airplanes. I usually travel in the sleeper car so that I can get the best of the accommodations. And this diagram gives an overview of what the Superliner sleeper car looks like, that has 2 levels. It has 14 roomettes, 1 family bedroom, 1 wheelchair accessible bedroom, and 5 full-size bedrooms. And there are also 4 shared restrooms and a shared shower. And this shows what the roomette looks like, which is usually what I travel in. It's got 2 seats that face each other, and the 2 seats at night, they convert into the lower bunk, and there is an upper bunk that folds down from the ceiling. So you can sleep 2 people in a roomette. And while it can accommodate two people, it's pretty tight with two people. It's kind of the perfect size for just one person. I usually like to put my feet up and relax. And three of my favorite reasons for riding Amtrak are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And one advantage to traveling in a sleeping car accommodation is that all of your meals, full service dining in the dining car, are included in the cost of your ticket. And another unique aspect about traveling in the on Amtrak with the dining car is that space is limited, so you will get seated with people that you're not traveling with, which leads to the opportunity to have great conversations with a variety of different people. And I've had conversations with people from all around the world over dinner. Another great part of traveling by Amtrak is the lounge car. It goes by different names. They call it the lounge car, the sightseer lounge, the observation car. Half of the seats, or half of the car features seats facing outwards, while the other half features tables. And it really functions as the social hub of the train. And downstairs in the lounge car is also the train snack bar. And the lounge car is a great place for taking photos. Well, what are the people taking photos of? Well, sometimes the views are of somewhere in Nebraska or cornfields in Iowa or freight trains in Iowa or Minot, North Dakota at midnight. But then other times it's a lot more spectacular, like the sunrise over the marshes of the San Francisco Bay, or the Kanawha River in West Virginia, or the Colorado River and Ruby Canyon along the Utah-Colorado border. You see the landscape, and then you become part of the landscape. This is the Colorado River in Colorado. There are also ocean views like the Pacific Ocean in California or Puget Sound in Washington. And here's the bridge crossing the Columbia River at Portland. And the Columbia River Gorge along the Washington-Oregon border. Or the Flathead River outside of Glacier National Monument or Glacier National Park in Montana. And here you see some of Glacier National Park's peaks. The one thing that you don't see are airport tarmacs. And when you arrive, you usually arrive in the city, like at Penn Station in New York City, which usually puts you much closer to your destination. And when you transfer trains and have a long layover, it doesn't look like an airport waiting area, but rather it looks like Union Station in Chicago, which allows you to do things like hop on a bike share bike and ride to views like this. And take selfies like this. I've seen a ton of Chicago just on layovers transferring between Eastern and Western trains. And I do have to let you know that Amtrak is still requiring employees and passengers to wear masks, except when eating or drinking, everywhere on the train, except for restrooms, showers, and private rooms. And Amtrak has had quite a time during the pandemic, and things are pretty much recovered now, and gone back to normal, except for the mask mandate. And I Also want to talk briefly about what I'm currently working on here for Utah. Uh, I'm working on trying to build support for expanding passenger rail across Utah so that we can connect north to Logan and southwest to Cedar City and St. George and southeast to Moab and Grand Junction. And also with additional connections to places like Las Vegas, Reno, Boise, Idaho Falls, and Rexburg, and an additional connection to Denver via Cheyenne. And I'm also looking at things like rural bus service to each of Utah's 29 counties. And also want to give a shout out for the national organization that I'm partnered with that does a lot of support in terms of keeping passenger rail going. And I've kept my presentation brief so that I can answer any questions that that might come up. And I had forgotten how short that presentation was. So we can go ahead and move into questions for anyone who has questions.